Hello explorers, I'm GOB and you're watching the GEOshow, and today we're talking about a scary topic, landmines. We spoke to one particular man that's doing a lot to help spread awareness about this particular issue.
My name is Bill Morse. The museum is called the Cambodia Landmine Museum and Relief Center. So it is a museum to tell tourists about the landmine problem in Cambodia and around the world through Aki Ra's story. A boy who was stolen from his family at 5 and fought through the various wars in Cambodia. And then it is also a home to at-risk village children. How many landmines in Cambodia is a question that's really open for debate. The number that we use a lot is about 5 million. But that is an absolute guess. It is an estimate. Really, when you talk about landmines in any country in the world or landmines around the planet, the numbers are estimates. We just don't know how many were put in the ground.
The majority of the landmines were laid by Cambodian citizens, which includes the Cambodian Army and the Khmer Rouge. Some of them were also laid by the Vietnamese Army in this 20-year guerrilla war.
To explain what a landmine is, think of a landmine as a little bomb that's buried in the ground and it blows up when you step on it. And they're not designed to blow you to pieces and kill you. Most of the landmines here are designed to blow your foot off. They're designed to blow your leg off. They're designed to wound you and maim you, not to kill you. If you kill a soldier, you have to bury him. But if you wound a soldier, you have to care for him. So you force your enemy to spend a lot more money on wounded people than they ever have to spend on dead people.
They call the amputee mine, or American call it amputee mine. Yeah, you bury deep like they under the ground, cannot see, cannot find with the mine detector. Got the plastic, only dog, it can sniff it, you see? No metal in there, C4 detonate and you will die from. Yeah. The small one like this can do the same, my leg, yeah? My leg, it break down here and cut here. Yeah.
And this is, you stepped on one of these?
Yeah, the same type, this one. And of these, when some people step on it, take off 2 legs.
We also had an incredible opportunity to sit down with our guide at the Cambodian War Museum in Siem Reap. When Mr. Seneth was just 9 years old, his entire family was killed. And then he was taken by the Khmer Rouge to live in a children's camp until he was 13, where he collected cow dung to be used as fertilizer.
In Vietnam, came the liberation, I have to go to the army. I don't want fighting, I want food and clothing. Yeah, because no family, don't know how to go, I don't know how to live by myself. I go to the army, but I'm still a little kid with my friend. About a few days, my friend, he go to fishing with the grenade, yeah? And he go to blowing up water to kill a fish, but he don't know everything. He used the grenade and he pull a pin, and he threw a pin in the water, he keep grenade in his arm. Explosion kill 6 of my friends. And then a bazooka get burned. After a few months, burn it. Yeah. And then 1980, I get shot here, you see, no gallbladder. 1985, I get shot. 1987, I get shot here, I die twice. You see that? A break, attendant break after you get in there, get out. And many shrapnel in my, yeah.
And you were fighting the Khmer Rouge?
Yeah, again to the Khmer Rouge. Until I lost leg, I lost leg. And I lost leg here. I lost leg and I'm blind both eyes. The same time.
That's when your foot bone went?
Yeah, foot bone in here. I'm blind both eyes 6 years, 1988 and September 1993.
Mr. Seneth was lucky. The UN gave him English lessons, an artificial leg, and an operation that removed shards of foot bone from his eyes so he could see again. Not everyone gets these opportunities.
In Siem Reap, after the war, 2001, 2002, 2003, and these get nothing to help. You look, this one very suffer from his soul until his neck, about 100 ball bearing. You see?
From a mine?
From landmine, all this from landmine.
Landmines in Cambodia today they're injuring people in the countryside who stumble across something and pick it up not knowing what it is, and it turns out to be a piece of unexploded ordnance or a landmine, and when they pick it up, it blows up and injures them. And 20% of everything shot and fired doesn't work. It just hits the ground and goes bounce instead of boom. Now, those things, when they're found, may never go off. They may go off the next time you touch them or pick them up. So a lot of the injuries we have here are from what we call UXOs, unexploded ordnance. So a lot of people find that stuff. We had a boy who lived at the Landmine Museum Relief Center. His name was Chiat. He was 15 years old. He was working in his uncle's rice field, and he found a UXO, and he picked it up. And he threw it away, but he didn't throw it far enough. And when he picked it up the second time, it blew off his left arm and most of his right hand. He came and lived here at the Landmine Museum for about 4 years until he was fully recovered. Physically, he recovered very quickly. There's no psychiatric help available here in Cambodia. You treat post-traumatic stress through group therapy and psychiatrists. But the Khmer Rouge, when they were here, they killed all the psychiatrists. So it's going to take 50 years to get those psychiatrists back.
Now, landmines aren't just a recent problem here in Cambodia.
We are still finding landmines in the ground from World War II. That was 70 years ago. We're finding landmines in the ground from World War I. That was 100 years ago. Some of the first modern metal in-the-ground anti-personnel landmines were used during the American Civil War. 5 of those landmines were found in Alabama in 1965. They were buried by the Confederate Army in 1863, and they were still functional. Then we've got a lot of bombs here that the Americans dropped. The Americans were bombing. There was a big trail called the Ho Chi Minh Trail during the Vietnam War. Guns and supplies came from North Vietnam into South Vietnam. The Americans started bombing that trail in the mid-60s, and they bombed it for 8 years. They dropped somewhere between, maybe 5 and 10 million bombs on Cambodia. Again, 20% of those don't go off. So farmers find those in their fields. You're not going to get blown up standing on a 500-pound bomb, but you're probably not going to go farming around it either. So we have to go in and dig those up. There's a company that will take those bombs back to the capital city, Phnom Penh, and they take the TNT out of it, and that's the TNT we use to blow up the landmines. It's like extreme recycling.
But people like Akira are working really hard to remedy these dangers every day.
You can disarm landmines. That's what Akira, my friend, did. He was raised in a Khmer Rouge children's camp. When he was 10 years old, the Khmer Rouge came in and they brought an AK-47, a Chinese rifle, and they stood it on the ground. If you're as tall as the gun, you became a soldier. So he became a soldier at 10. He was captured by the Vietnamese army when he was a teenager, and he defected to the Vietnamese army. He fought with them until they left, and then he fought with the Cambodian army. Then when the United Nations came here, he went to work for them and found out he was very good at clearing landmines. So he went back to the villages where he had fought as a little boy, and he began digging the landmines up that he and his friends had put in the ground. Now, he didn't have anything to blow them up with, so he would take them apart. But having laid them for so long, having put them together for so long, he knew how to take them apart safely. Today, we don't disarm landmines. We don't take them apart. When we find them, we leave them in the ground, and we blow them up where we find them.
There are about 7 companies in Cambodia qualified to remove mines. They use extensive protective gear and high-tech metal detectors, moving foot by foot through the jungle until they can safely destroy another mine.
There's a lot of landmines around the world right now. We don't know how many, but certainly tens of millions of landmines. There's a lot of countries around the world who are helping clear landmines around the world. A lot of nations are giving money. That's not going to clear the landmines in the world. Landmines are going to be cleared by the people watching this video. They're going to be cleared by you and I. Now, there were 3,200 injuries around the world in 2014. If those injuries were in Europe, we would not have a landmine problem. If those injuries were in North America, we would not have a landmine problem. But those injuries are in little countries that people can't find on a map, from wars that we don't like to think about. Landmines will be cleared when we decide we want to do it. We can clear all the landmines in the world anytime we want to do it. We just have to have a conscious decision to get it done. What I would ask the people who are watching this video today is that find something that you believe in and become part of that. It may be clearing landmines, it may be, orphaned mice, but find something you believe in and become part of it. Don't be a complainer, be a part of the solution. And remember, you don't have to be rich and famous to make a difference. My friend was stolen from his family at 5 years old. He has 3 years of education. He's made a huge difference in this country and around the world, and you can do the same thing.
All right, explorers, I hope this topic has been informative to you. And remember, just because this isn't happening in your backyard doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. Until next time, I'm GOB, and you've been watching The Geo Show.
most of them polio. Landmine, it's easily for them to get job because all the organization need the people who have a wild landmine problem.